Today's retirees likely need more savings, smarter strategies, and long-term financial vision to support decades of active living. We welcome in Craig Bolanos, co-founder and chief executive of VestGen Wealth Partners in Inverness and Downers Grove. Also, find him online at GetRetiredStayRetired.com. Craig, thank you for joining us today. And on the one hand, this is a good problem to have. People are living longer, but you have to save for that longer life.
You know what? It's a great problem to have. Think about it. Such tremendous longevity. Rob, seeing is believing. I interact with one of our clients who's 102. 102, still living independently. But if you're going to make it to 102, you got to have a way to grow your capital base and grow your income over time. Otherwise, inflation is going to be the silent killer for far too many.
And the discussion about retirement, a lot of the numbers and ages and thresholds for retirement that we talk about today are built for an earlier time, that if you retired at 64 or 65, you probably had 10 years or 15 years left, a combination of diets that were unevolved or smoking or lack of advances in medical technology. But because we eat better, the medical technology is better. We know more about things that can do us harm. As a result, we live a lot longer. So is 65, is that still the retirement number, or could you continue working until you're 70 or beyond if you're up to it?
Well, you know what? I think this. Rob, you and I have talked about before, many Americans need to be prepared to retire sooner than they plan on. That's because of reductions in force, global outsourcing, or the need to take care of a family member like a spouse. But 65 is still the golden age in American retirement because it solves for the conundrum that's retiree health care, because you can get Medicare. But we are finding more and more people desiring to stay plugged in, working beyond 65, not because they're worried about living to 100, but because they want fulfillment, and work can provide fulfillment.
I was talking with my wife on Sunday morning. We were just going for a walk, and the conversation turned to our retirement plans. And I said, I did a little back of the napkin math, and just based on if we keep doing what we're doing, we're going to be okay when we turn 65. 20 years from now, which is a lot faster than I think I used to believe. And she said, well, yeah, but how can we live off of this until we're in our 90s or until we live to be 100? And I think that's an issue for everybody now, that you have to assume that you're probably going to make it until 94 or 95 if you're an optimist.
I think retirement planning now, today, more so than ever, is about future-proofing. People need to future-proof themselves for TIR, taxes, and retirement. People need to future-proof themselves for the avalanche issue in American financial planning, which is retirement income in the shadows of dementia. I think people need to future-proof themselves to make sure that they have a growing stream of income throughout retirement, so that retirement, people don't just survive, they deserve to thrive. And that means planning needs to be at an elevated level, as you've said, Rob, compared to what it was in yesteryears.
Now, if you're listening right now and you say to yourself, I want to be Craig's 102-year-old client when I grow up, and what are some things that you can do right now when it comes to future-proofing your retirement that allows you to do all the things that you want to do? You get to travel when you're still physically capable of doing so, and then you are able to pay for your medical care the older you get. What's a general rule of thumb to follow?
Well, number one, everyone overcomplicates retirement. I need everyone listening to work towards striving to save 15% of their income per year. If you can be saving 15% of your income per year, that's step number one. Step number two, we always need to decide what's a want versus what's a need. And three, it's never too late to get professional advice, whether that professional advice is acting as a sounding board, whether that professional advice is acting in a collaborative role, giving you education that leads to empowerment, or whether that professional advice is one of delegating the planning responsibility, the investments, the cash flow modeling, the taxes, retiree health care to that professional. And when people do that, I think that's the intersection where we can take technology, research, and all of these things that are tested in the trenches to give people improved and defined outcomes.
The cash flow modeling is interesting because if in my case, using just a very simple online calculator, did a little back of the napkin math just to figure out how much we would end up at the age of 67 if we just kept doing what we were doing today. And I think there's this belief, and because this is a free online calculator, I'm sure I'm not alone in doing this, that the number that exists on the day you turn 67, that's the number you have to live on, and that can be a little bit misleading.
I think that number. I think there's too much financial anchoring, Rob. There's too much financial anchoring. I think all of us are using online calculators to chase a number. If we can get our nest egg to this number, it's going to work. Retirement is not about a number, like you and your wife get to a number at 67. Retirement is about perpetual growing cash flow. And we need to talk about what it means to maximize cash flow in retirement, which is the elimination of our debt service, investing for income so we can live off the interest, the dividends, the payment, the distributions while not touching the corpus, and making sure that that capital balance has a plan to grow over time, because your property tax bill is probably going to double, if not triple. Yep, you heard me, Cook County. And I think you got to do all of those things. So don't just get anchored on a number, as Rob says, get anchored on a cash flow plan. That's what you need if you too want to be a centenarian.
Craig Bolanos, co-founder and chief executive of VestGen Wealth Partners in Inverness and Downers Grove. Thank you for joining us today. Find him online at getretiredstayretired.com.